Welcome to Refarm'd, switching to plant-based milk farming with Geraldine Starke, part 1 of 2. Today, we will look into the exciting, innovative and compassionate way that Geraldine Starke is helping to convert dairy farms into plant-based milk farms. The plant-based milk trend is growing exponentially worldwide as people are now choosing plant-based over dairy. Geraldine's inspiration led to the turning of small to medium-sized dairy farms into the dynamic new age, alternative, non-dairy milk-producing farms using nuts, grains, and legumes. Plant-based milk is more sustainable than dairy milk. Research shows that one 200 milliliter or 7-ounce glass of dairy milk produces nearly 3 times more greenhouse gas emissions than a glass of vegan milk, whether it's from rice, soy, oat, or almond, and requires 10 times as much land as oat milk. Even thirsty crops like almonds require only nearly half the amount of water as it takes to produce the equivalent amount of dairy milk. Between 2003 and 2013, about 1 out of 4 farms in Europe closed down as the dairy industry became more and more unpopular with consumers due to increased awareness of the hazardous effects on the planet, humans, and the animals. Dairy milk sales have continued to drop drastically around the world. We even saw a 100-year-old milk-producing company in the United States convert their dairy farm to a 100% plant-based milk-producing factory. In the United Kingdom alone, there has been a 30% increase in plant-based milk consumption since 2015, thus providing a great opportunity for dairy farmers to make a successful transition into plant-based milk production. Plant-based dairy alternative sales grow during COVID-19 pandemic due to consumers' greater concern for food safety. 1 in 4 consumers say they've consumed more plant-based dairy than pre-pandemic. Let's take a look at how Geraldine got into the business of plant-based milk. It all started with her journey to veganism. Geraldine has been a vegan for more than 10 years.
I've been lucky to be able to do it with my husband at the same time, so it was easier for us to do it together. Before, I just didn't make the connection, and also working in some grill restaurants, and I was really getting disgusted by seeing the meat every time. It was so much for me. I was never a meat person. And my husband one day watched a slaughterhouse footage and just told me, okay, that's it, I'm going vegetarian, first vegetarian. So I followed him, and then 3 months after, it's actually my brother, who is not a vegan yet, who showed us Gary Yourofsky's speech, and that for us, that was it. We decided from then on to make the switch, and since then we've made it, yeah. So for definitely for ethical reasons for us, and then we looked more into health things and environment. So now we're in there for all the reasons, but at first it was definitely for the animals.
Geraldine loves animals, and her dream was to build her own sanctuary to help as many as possible.
Since being vegan and working on different vegan businesses, I always had in mind, my dream was always to create my own animal sanctuary and save as many animals as I could. But I was always hold back by the fact that it's quite difficult to have, and sanctuaries always rely on donations, so it's kind of a risky thing, because you are dependent on other people to help these animals, and you cannot really scale and grow, and so I saw that somehow as being helping just a limited amount of animals, and I really wanted to help more. So I never really got to the point in doing it. But I always had that in the back of my mind. And one day I just realized farms, so dairy farms or meat farms, actually the perfect place for being a sanctuary. Of course, I'm talking from small farm, not factory farms, because they already have the land, they already have the animals, and they already have the people caring for these animals. Because the difficulty with a sanctuary is that you have to get land, you have to prepare the land, you have to have volunteers to work and help with the animals. So it's a lot of work. So here I realized if farms become sanctuary instead of animal farms, it would be amazing, because we wouldn't have to move the animals. We wouldn't have to use more lands.
Luckily, Geraldine had the skill set needed to get the ball rolling.
I'm coming from the hospitality industry. I worked in several restaurants and hotels in France. And later I changed, and I become a self-taught software developer with the help of my husband. I also worked in some vegan-related businesses, like I had a vegan online shop. I also worked for creating a vegan village in Portugal, and so I had some kind of experience like this in this field, and that's what led me to work now on this project. So that's the first idea I had, and then the question was, okay, but how? How do I make farmers become sanctuaries?
It didn't take Geraldine long to establish the business model and real workable solutions. Geraldine spent 1.5 years doing tons of research, which involved checking out the local farmers who were already farming, what they were farming, was it being farmed organically, and if these farms were capable of being converted into vegan farms. While doing her research, Geraldine also spoke to farmers about her concept of changing dairy and meat farms into sustainable farms producing plant-based milk. While sharing her ideas with them, Geraldine received a lot of positive feedback from the farmers, who assisted her in creating solutions she needed for her business model to make these farms successful and viable. It was then that Refarm'd was born.
The solution we had is to make them become plant-based milk producers. So instead of so at first we're going to work with dairy farms. So instead of making cow milk, to make plant-based milk. The idea is that they will source the ingredients from local farms around, depending on what milks they will do regarding of their locality. And then the process of making milk is really simple. So we would be there to help them and make it and train them and provide materials. And so we really want to have a transition that they can be really easy and quick, and not much time for them or risk for them, because what we realize today is that actually a lot of farmers who want to transition out, because either for ethical reasons, but also because of the business side, because now they're struggling, especially the small ones, and we realized it's really difficult for them to transition, because they only have like two solutions. Either they have to sell the farm and do something totally different, which is very scary, especially if it's a family business you have been having from generation and it's all you know. And the other solution is to start growing veggies or crops. But that's also really difficult, because it's an unknown future for them, because you don't know if you're being able to grow anything and how long it's going to take, and if you're going to be able to sell it. So it's really risky, and so I really wanted to propose a solution for them to make the transition without thinking. Like, it's so easy for them, they can try it even without having to make much expenses. So the idea is that they don't grow the ingredients directly on their land, because we need them to keep the land for the animals, because they will keep the animals. So they will source it locally and then just make the milk, plant-based milk themselves, and sell it. So we will provide them with a platform for that.
Farmers still required a means to provide an income for themselves and their families. Therefore, Geraldine developed a business plan that would allow this to be possible, even before the farmer converted his farm. Some of the farmers also required capital to be able to convert to the new method of farming and producing milk, which was cleverly incorporated into Geraldine's financial plan. Geraldine wants to do more than just make farms transition. She wants to give the power of pricing back to the farmers during the farm's reformation.
We want to also give the power back to farmers somehow, because most farmers are not selling directly to customers, something like that. They need to sell to processors or big corporations, so they don't decide the price. And actually, this year, for example, in UK, the selling price for them of the milk is lower than the cost for them to produce the milk. So it's very hard on them for that. So we really want to give the power back to the farmers and allow them to actually decide themselves for the price of their milk, depending on the location they are at, the ingredients they use, and what kind of milk they're making. We want them to be able to decide of the worth of their work themselves, and hence having a better life for that.
To learn more about Refarm'd, please visit en.refarm'd.com, facebook.com/Refarm'd, instagram.com/Refarm'd_official. Compassionate viewers, thank you for your company today.